Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today's upload is going to be some subscriber submitted experiences that are absolutely mind-blowing. Also, some video evidence that I caught up where Tom Mezek disappeared last night. Before we get into all that, though, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, guys. So a couple of nights ago, I made the decision to go up to where Tom Mezek disappeared. Many of you know that he is a missing 411 in the Adirondacks. I live in the Adirondacks. And I'm only going a little deep on this because there are new subscribers. He disappeared November 15th, 2015. I have caught multiple evidence of different paranormal, cryptid, and other strange activity. And I'm not saying that because I think I'm some great researcher. I'm just me. I have caught something smashing through the woods behind me while I was sitting on some boulders narrating some encounters. I've caught something running off the side of the mountain, hitting the trail, dropping down to quadruped mode, and then down into a ravine. I've caught some strange sounds, broken trees, like trees that are 4 to 5 inches in diameter, just snapped off at like 7.5 feet in height. I'm 6 foot, and I put my arm up, and my middle finger, the tip of my middle finger, just barely touched where that break was. There's numerous kind of tree structures, and they are not just bent, like, these are actually woven together. Like something took time to make them sturdy and stay for a while. And there's one part of the trail that you walk through, and there is this woven kind of opening, It's very interesting. There's a section of trees that are bent, a 50 by 50 section of trees that all bend north. And then all the trees around it are completely straight. I had walked up into those woods and found this rock structure. And I don't like talking about the rock structure as much because, human instinct is to doubt. And I do believe that, my own self would be skeptical. So that's why I don't talk about it a lot. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I went off trail and hiked right up into the woods, right in that section of where those trees are bent. And there's these 3 rocks stacked. There's a boulder that's in the ground and then 2 rocks on top of that. I don't know how long it has been there for, but it's very strange. And for some reason, I was drawn to it. I was drawn to that location. I brought dowsing rods there, a magnet there, an EMF reader. So I've really researched the area, and I went just recently. I shared a large compilation of the videos of all of that I've caught. I went up there on a day trip and hiked the entire mountain. Just a beautiful hike. Great video. There are days that in the magnetic sound, the magnetic sound, I don't know how I could even not remember that. The day Tom disappeared, November 15th, 2023 though, last year. I'm up there, and it's a snowy day, windy day. You can hear the trees kind of rocking in the wind, but then you hear this metallic noise, which, if you've ever followed the case, Tom's family members talk about a metallic noise that was in the woods and heard. And Tom, that actually was back in 2016 when that was brought up. So we're talking 8 years prior. And, after that, of course, there's multiple people saying, I had an encounter and there was magnetic sound or metallic sounds out there, but weirdly enough, prior to that, no one was talking about it. It's just, I don't know. But I was fortunate enough to catch it. And last time I went up there at night, I had gone down Lily Pond Trail, and I was going to walk towards where the trees bend. Now, the parking area is a good size, not huge. You'd probably fit 15, 20 cars there, max. And that's a tight fit. But it's got gravel on the road in is dirt, and then it's gravel kind of, and then for some reason there's a little bit of gravel on the trail. It goes dirt, gravel, dirt. So it's like, why wouldn't you just put the gravel right at the beginning? Why go out a little ways and spread it? It's kind of weird to think about that. So I'm walking out and I'm recording, and I've used my camera for years now. I know exactly how to use it. I know what to look for when it is recording, when it isn't recording. My mic actually has an illumination light on it because I have an external mic that I use. The red light on my camera is always on when it is recording. I had a brand new SD card. And I'm walking out and I hear this scuttering. And at first I thought it was a human. I thought maybe someone, a local, because there was no cars. So I thought a local had been hiking, started late because it was such a hot day. Upstate New York, we've had some pretty hot days as of late. I think it was about almost 102 today. And, or yesterday, excuse me. And, so I stop, and in the video you are going to see shortly, I have an external flashlight and an internal flashlight on my camera. So the camera flashlight is pretty bright. The external is 6 different settings. The 6th and brightest setting is sunshine. It is so bright. You will see it shortly. I stand there because I'm like waiting for a hiker to come out, waiting for, someone to say, hey, get your flashlight out of my eye, jerk. But nothing, no one appears. And I'm like, this is really sketchy. My daughter didn't know I was out there. No one knew I was out there, actually. My daughter was out of sleepover at one of her friend's house. So I was like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to back out, keep an eye on the trail, back out, and see if anything comes out or anyone comes out. And then I heard, it almost sounded like they went into the woods. So where I would be, the trail goes down and around. They were kind of stopped like right here. So here I am. The trail kind of rounds. It sounded like they went right into the woods toward me. Instead of using the trail, that would take 30 seconds longer than a straight cut to me. I brought the flashlight. Mind you, I'm there for a half an hour and I had like 10 minutes and 42 seconds of recorded footage. I wait. I don't see anything. And then I noticed that it's not a windy day. It was so hot, humid. There was no wind, but it sounded like there was wind in the woods. It was so weird. I literally back out, keeping an eye on the trail and on the woods in front of me. And I'll peek behind me until I got to the parking lot. And then I decided it was time to go up the wash. The wash trail is where I had caught whatever blasted through the woods behind me. I had put trail cams up and I caught some sort of an ass end of some kind of animal. I think it was a deer. I'm not really sure. It was really a weird location for a deer to walk because how it was, they would have had to come up a steep, very steep incline. And I'm not saying deer don't do that. So chances are it was a deer, but it was kind of weird. So I go up this trail and I stop, and that's ironically enough where I caught the metallic noises as well. And I peek down. I don't know why, but I kind of peek down with the camera, and I'm talking about where the two boulders were, where I set the trail cam, and where whatever it was blasting through the woods behind me did it. And I noticed this gray shape past the boulders. And I said, well, I'm not going to, at that time, I'm thinking I'm going to walk up into there and I'll stop at that boulder. But then it dawned on me, all the times that I've been there, which is a lot, there's never been a boulder there. And I'm like thinking, that's not a boulder. That's not anything. I don't know what that is. That's not. I heard this weird howl, kind of like this, almost like the noise that I caught on the eclipse day, the day of the eclipse when I was up there. And then I went to use the shofar at the parking area. I set it up on the boulder facing Lily Pond Trail because there is something, I heard something there. I heard something make a noise there. I heard something walking there. So I was like, I'll blow the shofar 3 times. For the new people, a shofar is a Jewish horn made usually out of goat antler or horn, elk. And it's ceremonial, used at the Battle of Jericho, I believe. And Tim Coonbo Baker was one of the first people to introduce me to using the shofar to call in Bigfoot. So I'm going to blow the shofar 3 times. It's a biblical instrument, 3 times the Trinity. I do. The first one, weak. Second one, great. Third one, great. And I say, guys, the first one was kind of weak. I'm going to blow it one more time, step back and see what we get. Hopefully we get some kind of noise or something, but then I'm leaving. And I blow the shofar the last time, and all of a sudden, the woods in front of me light up brighter than my external flashlight. And like I said, you guys are going to see how bright it is in this little video clip that I have. I jumped in my car. I drove home. It's an hour away from my house. I was excited because I was like, wow, I got this evidence. I get home. My SD card is empty. Battery usage on the camera appeared normal for the amount of time I was recording. And I've never had anything like that happen. I shared this with Brad last night, and Brad's just like, dude, I don't really feel very comfortable with you going up there. We became really good friends, you know, plus your daughter. But it's now become an obsession. So I go up there last night, and, well, you will see. There was something up there. There is something in the woods. And there's a set of lights that absolutely make no sense. Okay, so I don't know what was going on up there last night. It was just an odd feeling. That light that I see in the woods, the camera didn't catch it as well as I wished it had. It was probably 300, max 500 feet out. There's a ravine just past where that light would be. It didn't look like a fire. It didn't even look like a flashlight. It was a few different colors. Blue, a yellowish, and like a different kind of reddish orange were like the colors that I could make out. It almost looked like a house, but there are no houses out there. Lily Pond Trail is like 2.5 miles off the main road. There is no houses on that main road prior to Lily Pond or after. There's actually a farm kind of at the beginning, but there's no way the lights from that house would be visible. One, because the house is south of where I was, and I was facing northwest. Yes, northwest. I have no idea. It was very quiet there, and it was a very eerie feeling. I really honestly believe that there is something much more evil, if that would be the word, involved with Tom's disappearance. I don't believe it was a cryptid. I don't believe it was Bigfoot. I don't believe it was Dogman or a crawler. I weighed all of those. And at one point, I thought Bigfoot, Dogman, crawler. After research, after research, after research, I believe I've caught an evidence of these creatures there, but I don't think that's what helped or was the result of him and his disappearance. Never to be found. No, not his rifle, not his cap, not his walkie. His family was out hunting with him. He was stationary. He taught survival skills. He was an airborne ranger at one point, older guy, but still, when you know the survival skills that he did, he would know, I'm going to sit and wait for someone to find me. Even if he started walking that 5 square mile radius, they would have found him. They would have found his cap. They would have found his gloves. They would have found his gun. FBI shows up for no reason. They're out of there after. Just the strangest case. And honestly, every time I go there, I have some sort of strange experience there. I think the only time I never did was about 9 days ago, a week, maybe 8 days ago, when I just hiked and got to the top of the mountain. It was a beautiful day. It was warm, but it was kind of breezy. There was no eerie feelings, nothing. So, let's jump into some subscriber experiences, and I don't know. Hopefully, I can figure out what is going on up there. I would like to sit down and talk to a geologist, and a couple different other scientists in regards to that area. So let's get on to some encounters. Me and my dad went on a hunting trip in Helotes, Texas for deer season. It wasn't technically in the town anymore, in the county. It was rifle season for whitetail and access deer, not so much. It's all season there, exotic, so not native to the state. We went to buy some supplies in town, buying 5 canned goods of our choosing, while we also stopped at the cigar shop. I couldn't go inside because of the laws being changed before I turned 18, now being 21. Let's get back on topic. As we set up camp and finished, my dad started a fire for our meal, and as he asked, like a sarcastic ass he is, what would you do if we encountered a cryptid? I hate how he asked, but it's my dad, and I answered, most are to spy on us or probably want us out of their territory. He isn't a believer in cryptids till he sees it. My dad will soon be a believer. We were on a Texas hill country, so the terrain was not easy for beginners. I was used to it. I could jokingly hunt in cowboy boots. So as we sat in one of our spots was the usual quote that I enjoy. We were hunting this 500-pound wild boar on the spot we chose. So we wait till we hear the boar behind us, and her piglets were there. Movement, I thought maybe a cow or the owner checking up on us. I felt this unease, and so did my dad. He had a Remington 870, as in case the hog charged us. He was smoking his cigar, and we heard something that smelled terrible, like possibly a wet dog or coyote. We slowly got out till we saw it. I worried, saying in a whisper, Dad, point, but don't shoot. He nodded. I hoped that he did not pull the trigger. He saw it and asked, what is that, son? He and I walked in a hurry back to camp. As we got out, we saw this wolf-like creature with black and brown fur, black hollowed eyes, fangs and claws, a mix of a German shepherd and wolf, bigger than a Spanish oak, nearly being its size. The oak was there when my dad's friend had the land, so from the 90s, now the tree was big to size up. It passed at least 7 feet, so it was either 8.5 feet. With my 4-powered scope, I heard Doe staring at me. So when it was close, eating grass and other greens, I had my knife to get my possession given away. This dog-like creature ran away. My dad saw the creature running in my area. I took my patience and stood still, hiding because I felt it was hunting the deer instead of us. Luckily, I was right. It chased the deer before my old man ran out, worrying. Damn it, couldn't you use a knock or a flare? Make sure you were okay? I had a flashlight to say I'm okay, hence his worry. We, of course, got out our gear, but not the tent, sadly. We got back 3 weekends after that. We luckily didn't have our tent torn by hogs or the cattle that was on the property. A cedar tree, 12-foot steps of claw marks at the tree showed us what this thing can do. So if you are hunting in Texas hill country, please be careful. Dogmen are out there. Today's second experience. I have seen a werewolf, or as some may call it, the Kentucky Dogman, on one occasion. In fact, I've seen this creature more than once. I'm 36 years old. The first time I saw this creature, I was 17. I was driving from Dalton, Georgia, where my parents lived, to my granddad's house in the small town of southwest Virginia called Pound. The town is located near the Kentucky state line. My grandfather's house is located next to the forest. The forest completely surrounds his home. It was 3 a.m. when I drove up the gravel dirt road that leads to his house. Something felt odd as I drove toward the house. It was completely silent. No animal noise. Not even my granddad's dogs barking. The strangest thing was, not even the crickets were making noises. It was April, and anyone who lives in this area will tell you this was strange. I knew this was unusual. I had lived there with my parents till I was about 11 years old. As I got closer to the house, driving up the driveway, I saw something strange walking down the road from the forest. At first, I thought it was a man, and he had a ripped shirt, white, a brown jacket, and brown slacks. At first, he was walking normally. Then the clouds moved and revealed the full moon that shined so bright you could see everything. He was covered in fur, long nails. Even on his dog or wolf-like feet, his legs designed similar to that of a dog or a wolf. He had a long snout, like a dog or a wolf, with sharp teeth and what appeared to be drool or saliva running down his face. I stopped my little Ford Taurus about 3 feet from this creature. I thought at first I had fallen asleep and was dreaming, and this was not real. Then when it noticed me, it smirked at me like a psychopathic man. Then it leapt 3 times and landed on the hood near my windshield. I screamed and realized this was no dream, that it was real. Then this creature reached over to my window on the driver's side door and began clawing and hitting the glass. I could tell this creature wanted to hurt me, or even worse, possibly kill me. Its eyes now not black, but burning like fire. I panicked and slammed the car into reverse, hitting the gas, flooring the pedal. I backed up so fast and turned into my grandfather's neighbor's driveway. I slammed on the brake that made the creature fly off the hood. I put the car into gear and drove as fast as I could to get out of Rat Creek Road. I looked in the mirror several times to see if it was following me. I kept driving out South Fork towards the town of Pound. This creature wanted me and was not going to give up. The creature ran up and grabbed a hold of my bumper. I slammed on the brake and the creature hit the back side of my car, rolling to the ground. I hit the gas and sped away faster, trying to escape. Then again, another creature leapt from a tree above the road and landed on my car. It sounded like this creature was growling and yelling all at once in this raspy kind of voice that sounded like a mixture of a human guttural and a wolf or dog. The creature growled and groaned, hitting my back windshield of the car. I slammed on the brakes once more and the creature was flung to the ground. I hit the gas, and I believe I ran over the creature's leg, or possibly a stick, I don't know, because my car went up a little, and I heard a growl with kind of a pained scream. I thought for sure that would have stopped it if I indeed did hit its leg. But no, the creature was still following me. I had tears running down my face. Panic and fear were almost overwhelming. I knew at that moment that if I did not get away from this creature, it was going to kill me. I felt terrified to my core, so I began to pray. I pushed on the gas pedal to speed the car up even faster. I knew that on these curved roads, these are not safe speeds to drive at, but I did want to live. I ended up speeding, going approximately 70 miles an hour. The creature seemed to be following me almost the entire way back to town. When I did make it to the main road, it let out this kind of growl or blood-curdling something. It was not a howl. It was not a growl. It was something completely different. Just thinking about it gives my hair on the back of my neck standing up. After it turned back around, I went to my friend's house. I was freaking out and crying and panicked. It took her 30 minutes to calm me down enough to tell her what happened. At first, she did not believe me until I showed her the saliva or slobber on my windshield, the scratches on my hood, and on the back hatch of my car, the driver's door and window. I had already seen and had almost been attacked by this creature, or as some people call it, a dogman, but I call it a werewolf. I survived this creature. I know not many people will believe me, but I don't really care who believes me, because I know what happened. I just figured I would share it with someone. Now I actually live on the same property my granddad's house was located on. Remember, please, to be careful and watch out. You may be the next one who encounters this creature or creatures. Today's third encounter. A few months back, one of my friends opened up to me about a creature he said he had encountered twice around New Jersey, where my mom lives. This same friend and I have encountered what we believe to be the Jersey Devil while in New Jersey once. And he told me when he was just a boy he saw something in the field next to his house. Whatever he saw still terrifies him to this day. He's had 2 encounters with this creature, one in the middle of the day when he was a boy, and one waking up in the middle of the night. Here are his encounters with an alleged dogman. These experiences are also from his perspective, so I could capture that narrative feel. Hello everyone, my name is Ted and I live in New Jersey. Since I was a kid, I had all sorts of paranormal and creature experiences for a long time, which I can also tell here in the future at some point. I am a heavy believer in the supernatural and in Dogman and other cryptids, just like my friend as well. Here are my 2 encounters with what I believe to be a dogman. It was a clear sunny day as I was walking along a trail that was close to my house. I was about 8 years old at the time. It was a beautiful day out, and as a young kid, I was taking it all in. I was having a little adventure, picturing myself just running through the open fields, waiting for my mom and dad to get home The trail I was on had beautiful scenery all around it, with tall grass and miles of fields to my left and a dense forest to the right. I was walking through, as whenever my parents weren't home, that's what I would do. I was enjoying this walk, taking in all of the feels of nature. The smells of the woods was intoxicating. Then the woods fell silent after I could not hear the birds anymore. I felt like someone or something was staring at me, and my eyes darted around the entire area. I then looked to my left and noticed something in the tall grass. To me, it looked like a large dog, but then I saw it was crouched down like a man would be if he was trying to hide. It was covered in brown fur. Looked like it had a muzzle and ears of a German shepherd. Its eyes were a bloodshot red. I thought it was more curious than frightening, but I was still on edge. I was scared for a bit, but I acted like I didn't notice it and just went along with my day and ran back to my house. I never spoke about this encounter with any one of my family, as they would think I was crazy, but that was my first encounter with what I believe to be the Jersey Dogman. My next experience happened a couple years ago. At this point, I lived at a different house. This house was closer to a large forest, and the biggest predators I had seen around there had either been coyote or fox. Now, what I saw that night was no coyote. I woke up in the middle of the night, my throat was dry, and I realized that I was thirsty. I went to the kitchen to grab something to drink, and I felt a sudden sense of dread, or I was being watched. I looked out the window close to where I was, and to my horror I saw this huge creature in my backyard. Whatever it was, it noticed me, and it was staring at me with these crimson red eyes. I felt utterly terrified. And to my horror, I saw this creature bare its teeth and stand on its hind legs. This creature then started to growl. I could hear it through the window. I also saw its breath come out of its mouth. I realized that this was a real creature, not some figment of my imagination. It looked to be 7 to 8 feet in height on both legs, with the head of a German shepherd, only much bigger, and the body shaped similar to a bodybuilder that hasn't worked out in a while. Whatever it was, it then looked at the fence in my yard, ran to it, jumped across it, and into the woods below. I went back to my bedroom, terrified, and couldn't sleep at all that night. These two encounters with these beings have shocked me to my core and made me realize that there are creatures that science just refuses to recognize. Funny thing, any person that I've ever talked to about New Jersey and their cryptids, like a good friend of mine, Paul Pedersen, he has researched the Jersey Devil and the Pine Barrens for years. He said that statement. I've had another gentleman that was camping in the Pine Barrens in the winter. He was homeless at the time. Had some sort of creature trample around his tent. And they all say, you know, that one thing about these creatures. It's just, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of funny how they say it, you know, that science refuses to recognize these things. And interestingly enough, there's a magazine called Weird New Jersey. And there used to be a lot of write-ups about old red eyes, which was found outside of the Pine Barrens. People speculated that it was a Dogman or a Bigfoot. So let's jump into tonight's next encounter. I live on a 180-acre plot in the Midwest, Oklahoma. I was 14 when we lived here. On this property, we had a large pond in the middle of the wooded part of the property. This wooded part is covered in thick undergrowth with a large oak tree that blocks most of the moonlight during the nighttime. I go out to the pond at night sometimes to do a little fishing, and I always carry a firearm, whether it is the Maverick 88 shotgun or my .22 caliber revolver. This particular night, it was kind of foggy, and my high-powered headlamp would only allow me to see about 10 meters in front of me or so. This particular night, I was carrying the revolver when I headed down to the pond with my fishing pole and the bucket of frogs for bait. When I arrived at my normal spot where I fished, I noticed that it was very quiet, almost silent. No frogs croaking, no crickets chirping. This was very unusual. I ignored this sign like an idiot. After fishing for about an hour or so with no luck, I started to hear some of those noises off in the thick part. Normally, this would not bother me, but it was the only sound within the area I was in. I turned around, and what I saw will forever haunt me. When I turned, I saw this black wolf-like creature staring at me. I froze, but quickly went into instinct, drawing the revolver, knowing it was my only chance, but then something happened that I still cannot fathom. The damn thing stood straight up on its hind legs and towered over me. It only was about 2 meters away and was about 2.5 meters tall. Its eyes were glowing like fire, and I felt the weight of its pistol in my hand and did what I was trained to do by the Marines. My brother is a Marine as well. I fire a single shot and put it right in the A box of the creature. Now I know it's probably the stupidest thing I could have ever done, but I believe it saved my life because I couldn't outrun this thing and I couldn't fight it, so I might as well shoot. Though this thing on all fours could have run at unimaginable speed, I could pull off another round on the swivel until I looked for those lights at the house. Though this scared me, it didn't keep me from doing things I love to do, no matter what I've seen. Then, even though the second time was a bit more in my favor, I was walking a trail in the most rural part of the woods. I had my Maverick 12 gauge with me. I could fit 5 slugs instead of 3. It was a very clear night, so I could see a substantial distance with my light. As I was walking, I could hear footsteps. Then I was taken, but I stopped, they stopped. Of course, I've had my encounters with a black puma or cougar that roams the area, so I thought this was it. I pumped the shotgun and shouldered it. After a while, I came to a small clearing at the back of my property. I could still hear the footfalls behind me. I whipped around and saw it again, with the same height and eyes. Those eyes that could be straight through you, right to your soul. I raised the shotgun, and this time I knew what I was doing. It knew what I was doing, and it took off with speed, such as a bullet train, and with slugs instead of double-aught buck, I was not going to be able to hit it. I haven't seen it since, and I hope I never do. The only bad thing about this creature is that people have gone missing in my area, never to be found. So this is some serious crap. And everyone, if you go in the woods, especially at night, take in your surroundings. Always keep an eye on your 6. If you have a firearm, use it because it will save your life. But it can't do that if it's in your holster at home. Don't ever think when you raise that gun, just act. And also try to bring someone with you. Be safe, everyone. And remember, you don't have to believe in them for them to hurt you. All right, folks, that was today's upload. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Weird thing. After that light from the night a couple nights ago, not last night, not the night before, but since I did that and went up there and my camera or my SD card was empty, I've had the hardest time staying awake. It's almost like it feels like something drew all my energy from me. And it's weird because as of late, and many of you guys know who have been with the channel a while and go to the live stream, I am on TRT. So I had a lot of energy. I've been on it for, 5 months now. And I don't know if that bright light was a portal or what, some sort of pulse. I don't know. But it was scary. And I'm definitely going to think about not going there at night anymore. So anyway, with that, guys, thank you for supporting the channel. It is your support, after all, that keeps this channel growing and going. And honestly, what keeps and gives people a chance to share their experience, a place to share their experience. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless.